A young black girl finds the wallet of a wealthy white millionaire and decides to return it. But only a few hours later, the police and the millionaire unexpectedly show up at her school. What happened? What could Amara have done to make them come all the way to see her? Follow the story to uncover the hidden truth. Amara Johnson, a 12-year-old girl, lived with her mother in a tiny apartment nestled deep in a modest neighborhood on the outskirts of the city. Every morning, their small home was warmed by her mother's gentle calls and the aroma of simple meals. This morning was no different. Amara heard her mother's voice calling softly from the kitchen. "Time to get up, sweetheart," with a tone that was both tender and patient. Amara blinked a few times, trying to wake up, and took a deep breath, savoring the smell of toast and fried eggs from the kitchen. Though they didn't have much, Amara's mother, Linda, always tried to bring small joys to her daughter's day, even if it was only a modest breakfast. Linda, a woman with kind yet weary eyes, worked day and night to ensure Amara could study well, maintain her dignity, and grow up with pride. Amara climbed down from her small bed with its worn-out sheets and adjusted the basketball posters on her wall. Those images symbolized her dreams and hopes for a brighter future, a day when she would have the chance to change life for herself and her mother. She quickly put on her worn but neatly washed uniform. Amara always made sure her clothes looked presentable, even if they weren't new or fancy. She stepped out of her room and saw her mother standing there with a warm smile, her eyes full of love and pride for her daughter. "Sweetheart, have breakfast. You need the energy for a new day," Linda said, placing a plate of toast and fried eggs in front of Amara. Amara sat down, smiled, and said, "Thank you, Mom. The breakfast is delicious." Her smile revealed a small gap in her teeth from a recently lost baby tooth. As Amara ate, Linda leaned down and gently kissed her on the forehead. "Remember, Amara," she said with a voice that was soft yet resolute, "it's not about what we have, but who we are." Amara looked at her mother, her eyes shining with trust and determination. "I remember, Mom. I'll always try to make you proud," Amara replied with the serious tone of a girl with a strong sense of morals and honesty. After finishing her meal, Amara put on her old backpack and stepped outside, blending into the morning bustle of her neighborhood. The familiar path to school was getting busier. She waved at Mr. Peterson, an elderly man who sat on his porch every morning, and smiled at her best friend Kayla, who lived in the apartment next door. Kayla had just come out and grabbed Amara's hand as they walked to school together, chatting nonstop along the way. The morning streets were filled with the sounds of cars, birds chirping, and people talking as they headed to work. Amara walked along, her mind on the upcoming math test, occasionally kicking a small pebble along the cracked pavement. She was reciting multiplication tables in her head, trying to memorize each problem, when something made her stop in her tracks. A shiny black object peeking out from beneath some dry leaves at the side of the path caught her attention. She slowed down, eyes fixed on it, and then bent down to pick it up. It was a sleek black leather wallet, and touching it, she knew it was expensive. Amara opened the wallet and gasped, stunned when she saw the neat stack of $100 bills inside. It was more money than she'd ever seen, far more than she and her mother could make in a month. Her heart raced, and her hands trembled slightly as she flipped through the other compartments in the wallet. She found a clear plastic ID card with a bold name that surprised her: John Parker. Amara had heard of Mr. Parker before. He was a successful businessman, famous for his wealth and influence in the city. She couldn't believe that a wallet belonging to someone like him would end up here, in the heart of her small, humble neighborhood. For a moment, Amara imagined all the things she could buy with this money: a new school uniform, a special dinner for her mom, or even the bike she had always dreamed of. She knew her mother would be thrilled to have a bit of extra money to make ends meet. But then, her mother's words echoed in her mind like a bell of conscience. "It's not about what we have, but who we are." While she was still feeling conflicted, a homeless man nearby who had seen her pick up the wallet approached and said, "Young lady, honesty is precious. If you do the right thing, life will smile upon you." His warm voice and wise words made her feel more certain. Amara looked at the wallet again, then gently closed it and placed it in her backpack. She knew she had to return it to Mr. Parker, even if it meant being late to school and having to explain herself to her teacher. But for Amara, honesty and faith in goodness were worth more than anything else. Taking a deep breath, Amara felt a calm determination wash over her. She turned and walked toward the tall building where Mr. John Parker worked, unsure of what might lie ahead, but resolute in her choice. Amara walked along the bustling streets leading into the city center, clutching her backpack tightly, with Mr. Parker's wallet inside. Her excitement grew as she approached the towering buildings, where everything seemed glamorous and luxurious, a stark contrast to the modest neighborhood she called home. Inside her, a mix of nervousness and eagerness swirled together. She knew she was doing the right thing, yet she couldn't help but worry about how Mr. Parker would react. When Amara finally stood in front of the large building where Mr. Parker worked, she couldn't help but feel overwhelmed. The grand structure, with its gleaming glass panels reflecting the bright morning light, looked like a modern fortress rising in the heart of the city. To Amara, this place was both intimidating and foreign, like a world completely different from the one she was used to. She paused in front of the large glass doors, took a deep breath, and reminded herself that she was doing the right thing. It's not about what we have, but who we are, she reminded herself as a little encouragement. She reached out, pushed the heavy door open, and stepped inside, instantly feeling overwhelmed by the opulence of the lobby. The high ceiling was adorned with sparkling chandeliers. The floor was cool, polished marble, and the plush leather sofas were arranged neatly along the walls. Around her, well-dressed men and women moved briskly. Dressed in her simple uniform, Amara felt small and out of place amidst such luxury. She noticed a few curious, even slightly skeptical glances from the people around her. Some seemed to eye her questioningly, unsure why a young girl with such a modest appearance would be here. At the front desk, a woman with her hair neatly pinned up, dressed in a crisp suit, noticed Amara's entrance. She frowned slightly before politely asking, "Can I help you with something?" Amara swallowed, feeling a bit shy, but she mustered up the courage to respond, "My name is Amara Johnson. I found Mr. John Parker's wallet and wanted to return it to him." The receptionist tilted her head, a hint of surprise in her expression. She looked into Amara's clear, sincere eyes, then nodded as if she understood that this girl was genuinely serious about what she was doing. "Just a moment," the receptionist said, picking up the phone to call Mr. Parker's office. While waiting, Amara stood quietly, her eyes curiously taking in her surroundings. She felt that everything here was too extravagant for her, from the expensive leather chairs to the decorative paintings on the walls. She wondered what her mother would think if she were here, whether she would be just as surprised and overwhelmed. "Mr. Parker will meet you on the 30th floor, the receptionist said after hanging up, offering a supportive smile. "You can take the elevator over there. Someone will meet you when you arrive." Amara nodded in thanks and walked toward the elevator. She pressed the button, and as the metal doors opened, she stepped in, her heart pounding with anticipation. As the elevator climbed, each floor number lighting up on the control panel made her heartbeat quicken. She had never been in a building this tall, nor imagined she would one day step into the world of the wealthy and powerful. When the elevator doors opened on the 30th floor, Amara found herself facing a long hallway with red carpeting, lined with ornate paintings in gilded frames. Waiting for her at the end of the hallway was a middle-aged woman, elegantly dressed in professional attire, who smiled warmly as she spotted Amara. "You must be Amara?" the woman asked. "I'm Sarah, Mr. Parker's assistant. Please, follow me." Amara nodded gently, trying to suppress her nervousness as she followed Miss Sarah down the hallway. They passed by offices with glass walls, where employees were busy working. She couldn't help but feel as though she were stepping into a whole new world, where everything seemed flawless and distant. Finally, they stopped in front of a large wooden door. Miss Sarah knocked softly and opened it, gesturing for Amara to step inside. "Mr. Parker, the young lady is here," Ms. Sarah introduced as Amara shyly stepped into the room. Mr. Parker's office was spacious, furnished with luxurious decor, and featured a floor-to-ceiling glass wall that offered a sweeping view of the city. Mr. Parker, a middle-aged man with graying hair and sharp eyes, sat behind a polished wooden desk. When he saw Amara enter, he squinted slightly, then smiled faintly, though there was a hint of skepticism in his expression. "You must be Amara, right?" Mr. Parker asked, his voice deep and serious, but with a touch of gentleness. Amara took a deep breath, carefully pulling the wallet from her backpack and holding it out. "Yes, sir, I found your wallet on my way to school and thought I should return it to you." Mr. Parker stared at the wallet, then slowly looked back up at Amara. His eyes showed a mix of surprise and doubt. He stood up, moved closer, and asked in a steady yet curious tone, "Why didn't you keep it? This money must mean a lot to you, doesn't it?" Amara hesitated for a moment, but then her eyes brightened with determination. "No, sir. My mother always taught me that what matters is who we are. I knew this money didn't belong to me, and I felt that returning it was simply the right thing to do." Hearing these words, Mr. Parker's eyes softened, his initial suspicion turning into astonishment and admiration. He looked at Amara, recognizing the sincerity in her gaze. A smile appeared on his face as he reached out to take the wallet. "You are a remarkable young lady, Amara," he said, his voice filled with admiration. "Not everyone would have done what you did. Today you've taught me a valuable lesson in honesty." Amara smiled gently, feeling her tension ease. She hadn't expected this encounter to mean so much. For her, returning the wallet was simply the right thing to do. But through Mr. Parker's admiring gaze, she realized that sometimes our small actions can leave a lasting impact on others. Mr. Parker nodded thoughtfully, as if reflecting on something. He understood that this young girl was admirable, not only for her honesty, but also for her humility and pure character. What had started as a seemingly simple event turned into a profound and memorable moment for both Mr. Parker and Amara. Afterward, they continued their conversation. Amara sat in the soft leather chair across from Mr. Parker, her heart pounding with excitement. This was the first time she had ever been in such a spacious and luxurious office, and she had never imagined she would meet a famous businessman like Mr. Parker. However, with all her humility and determination, Amara maintained her sincere gaze as she looked at him. Mr. Parker watched Amara intently for a while, as if he were pondering her story. Finally, he spoke, his voice warm yet serious. "Amara, do you know, in this world, honesty and kindness are not always valued. Sometimes people are tempted by money and fame, and they easily overlook the values they once believed in." He paused, his gaze deepening as he looked at Amara. "But you, a small young girl, dared to do the right thing, something not everyone is willing to do." Amara nodded gently, her eyes shining with an understanding beyond her years. She replied, her voice soft yet confident, "Sir, I never thought that being honest was difficult or rare. My mother always taught me that honesty is the foundation of all good things. I don't see myself as special. I just did what my mom has taught me since I was little." Mr. Parker was momentarily silent, captivated by Amara's innocence and sincerity. He smiled and asked, "But do you know the money in this wallet is no small amount? Given your family's situation, it could be a significant help. Didn't you ever consider keeping some of it, even if only to help your mother?" Amara looked down, her gaze fixed on the wallet on the table, pondering for a moment before looking back up. "Yes, sir, I did think about it," she said. "I thought about buying my mom a nice meal or helping her so she wouldn't have to work as hard. But then I remembered my mom's words. It's not about what we have, but who we are. I understood that keeping the wallet wasn't the right thing to do because it didn't belong to me, and I believe that doing the right thing will bring other good things without needing money." Mr. Parker was astonished by Amara's mature perspective. Seeing such profound insights from someone so young, he looked at the wallet, then back at her with an expression of respect. "You know, Amara, your honesty and kindness have reminded me of the values we sometimes forget in this busy life." With that, Mr. Parker opened his desk drawer, pulled out a check, and began to write. When he handed it to Amara, she was surprised to see a large sum on it, much more than she had ever seen in her life. "This is a small gift I want to give you and your mother, to thank you for your honesty," Mr. Parker said, his eyes filled with sincerity. "This money could help you and your mother through tough times. You deserve it." Amara looked at the check, her eyes widening in disbelief. She felt her hands tremble slightly, but after a few moments of thought, she gently pushed the check back toward Mr. Parker, her voice soft yet resolute. "Thank you very much, sir, but I can't accept this money. I didn't do this for a reward, and I believe that my honesty shouldn't be exchanged for material things." Mr. Parker was taken aback by Amara's firm refusal. He put the check back in his drawer, his eyes showing admiration and emotion. "You are truly a rare girl, Amara. Not everyone can refuse such a large sum, especially when you and your mother are facing difficulties." Amara smiled gently and replied, "Thank you, sir. I believe that doing the right thing will naturally bring good things. I don't need money to feel the pride in my heart for returning your wallet." Mr. Parker leaned back in his chair, gazing off into the distance, memories of his childhood flooding back, bringing with them the bitter taste of hard days. As a child, he too had lived in hardship, facing challenges daily. His family was poor, living in a working-class neighborhood where kids often had to become independent and grow up in tough conditions. He remembered the early mornings when he had to wake up to help his parents. Each day, his job was to run errands around the neighborhood, delivering goods or cleaning. He did everything with the hope of helping his parents, even if it was just a small amount to buy more food for the family. His small hands had become calloused early, yet his pride and belief in hard work never waned. Like Amara, Mr. Parker had faced his temptations. There were times when he saw people easily making money through deceit or even petty theft. Once, while working at a diner, an older man suggested he keep the extra change from customers for himself. He was tempted because, to a poor child, that amount was not small. But then he remembered his mother's teachings. Money not earned through honest work would never bring true happiness. Remembering his mother's words, he refused, firmly rejecting ease and deceit, no matter how difficult life was. Over time, the principles he had held on to helped him rise and achieve success through his hard work. Now, sitting across from Amara, he felt as though he was seeing a reflection of himself as a child, a small but resilient person, holding on to honesty despite the hardships. Those childhood memories, filled with challenges, yet bright with faith in honesty and determination, remained within him, reminding him of the value of each step in his life. Mr. Parker took a deep breath, a warm smile spreading across his face. "Amara, you've taught me a valuable lesson today. You reminded me that sometimes all it takes is a small act of honesty to make a big difference. I'm grateful, and I want to express my appreciation in some way, but I won't pressure you to accept a reward. Instead, I'll think of something else, something that may be more meaningful to you." Amara nodded quietly, feeling the warmth of Mr. Parker's respect and understanding. She didn't know exactly what he had in mind, but she sensed that he genuinely valued her kindness. Though this encounter was unusual, she felt relieved, knowing she had done the right thing and that it was acknowledged. The conversation continued as Mr. Parker asked Amara about her life, her mother, and the challenges they faced. Amara told him about her mother, a hard-working woman with nothing but love and the moral values she instilled in her. She spoke of her small dreams, her wish to make her mother proud, and her desire to contribute to her community. Listening, Mr. Parker felt a profound sense of empathy and emotion within himself. He realized that this young girl was not only honest but also had a kind heart, thoughtful of others, and appreciative of life's simple things. "Amara," he said warmly, "you've given me new faith in people, and I won't forget your honesty and kindness. You will always be a wonderful example of integrity, and I'll find a way to honor that. You may not accept money, but I believe I'll find another way to thank you, a truly meaningful way." Amara smiled at Mr. Parker, her heart still glowing with joy and satisfaction from sitting with him after completing what she thought was just a simple act of returning a wallet. As Mr. Parker opened up about his life, career, and memories, Amara felt like she had discovered a new world, a new perspective on wealth and the true meaning of kindness. Now, as their conversation ended and it was time for her to return to school, Amara felt a twinge of reluctance as she prepared to leave. She bowed to say goodbye to Mr. Parker, who gave her a warm nod. His eyes filled with joy at realizing there were still young people with pure hearts and true kindness in the world. He hadn't expected that something as simple as losing a wallet could lead to an encounter that warmed his heart. He thanked her, and Amara smiled back, sensing the genuine connection between them. As Amara stepped out of Mr. Parker's building, she took a deep breath, feeling the fresh air and a deep sense of joy. She thought herself lucky to have met him, not because he was a millionaire, but because he was a person of depth and compassion. She felt she had learned more than any lesson from a book. Returning the wallet had led to an unforgettable encounter, leaving a lasting impression she would never forget. On her way back to school, Amara walked slowly, not in a rush as usual. She recalled Mr. Parker's stories about the challenges of building his career, the failures, and the important friends he had met along the way. His story made her realize that success doesn't come from individual effort alone, but also from the help and kindness of others. Amara felt as if she had grown up a little more, understanding the value of kindness. She realized that kindness could change someone's life and could also transform her own. She thought about times she had helped her friends or others and recognized that she didn't need to do something grand to make a difference. A small act, a bit of time spent with someone, could bring joy and a sense of appreciation to their lives. Walking along the stone-paved street, watching the people passing by with various expressions and moods, Amara reminded herself that everyone has their own story. She felt her heart open, ready to listen and empathize with others. Until now, Amara had thought that studying and working hard to achieve was the most important thing. But her meeting with Mr. Parker made her realize that sometimes true values come from human connections, from kindness given without expectation. As the school came into view down the road, Amara looked at the clock and saw that she was still on time. She let out a sigh of relief, but her heart was full of an indescribable feeling as if today had been special, unlike any other day. Today, Amara was not just a student going to school, but someone who had brought joy to another person and received lessons about life in return. Amara walked through the school gates, feeling Mr. Parker's words echoing in her heart. She silently promised herself to always hold on to sincerity, to be ready to help others, and to cherish every opportunity to connect with others. She understood that this meeting was not just an experience, but a lesson she would carry with her, reminding her of the power of kindness and sincerity. The values she had gained from their brief conversation would motivate her to grow, not just for achievements, but for human connection and compassion. Reflecting on her journey from Mr. Parker's building to school, Amara felt as though she had crossed a new threshold of maturity. She was no longer just a girl who found a wallet. She had become someone who understood kindness, the value of helping others, and sharing. She told herself she would never forget this day, not just because it was memorable, but because it had changed her view of life, of humanity, and of herself. After the emotional conversation with Amara, Mr. Parker was determined to do something meaningful to honor her honesty. He wanted not only to express his gratitude, but also to share Amara's story as an inspiration to others. Therefore, he arranged for a small commendation ceremony at her school, where he could clarify everything and spread the spirit of integrity that Amara had demonstrated. The following morning, Mr. Parker called Amara's school and arranged a special event with the principal. He also reached out to Lieutenant Wilson, a respected police officer in the community, to join him at the school and help convey the significance of the event. Mr. Parker wanted the presence of a police officer not only to add formality to the occasion, but also to reinforce and elevate the message of integrity that Amara had displayed. When Mr. Parker's luxury car and Lieutenant Wilson's police car stopped in front of the school gate, the students and teachers immediately took notice. The atmosphere turned lively, and whispers quickly spread throughout the schoolyard. Seeing the police car, many students began to speculate, with some thinking something serious had happened. Amara was sitting in class, focused on the lesson, but couldn't ignore the commotion outside in the hallway. Her classmate, Emily, glanced at her and whispered, "Amara, did you hear? It looks like the police and someone else are here to see you. What's going on?" Amara was startled, worried about what could be happening. She couldn't imagine why the police would come to her school, and a sense of unease crept into her heart. Just then, the classroom door opened, and her teacher, Ms. Rodriguez, stepped in, her face a mixture of pride and emotion. "Amara Johnson, could you step outside for a moment?" Ms. Rodriguez called, her voice gentle yet clear, and there was a gleam of pride in her eyes. Amara gathered her books, feeling a bit anxious, and followed her teacher out of the classroom. As soon as she stepped outside, she saw Mr. Parker waiting for her in the hallway, with Lieutenant Wilson beside him. Curious glances from her classmates poured in her direction, and a few whispers floated through the air. "Do you think Amara did something wrong?" one student wondered aloud. "Maybe she just returned the wallet for the reward," another voice added with a hint of sarcasm. Amara's cheeks burned with embarrassment at the comments, but she tried to remain calm. She looked down at her worn shoes, silently reminding herself that she had done the right thing. No matter what others thought, she didn't regret her decision. Mr. Parker smiled at Amara, his eyes filled with trust and respect. He understood her apprehension and gently placed a hand on her shoulder to reassure her. He turned to Ms. Rodriguez and asked her to gather all the students and teachers in the auditorium so he could say a few words. A few minutes later, the entire student body and faculty had assembled in the large school auditorium. The atmosphere buzzed with whispers and curious glances as everyone tried to guess why they had been called together. Once everyone had settled, Mr. Parker stepped onto the stage with Lieutenant Wilson by his side, holding a formal certificate. The auditorium gradually quieted as Mr. Parker began to speak, his voice warm yet commanding, capturing everyone's attention. Hello to all students and teachers. I am here today to share with you a beautiful and admirable act by one of your students. Amara Johnson paused for a moment, looking down at Amara, who was sitting in the front row. Amara lowered her head shyly as she felt everyone's gaze on her. Yesterday, Amara found my wallet on her way to school, he continued. Inside was a large sum of money and some important documents. Despite her family's difficult circumstances, Amara didn't hesitate to bring the wallet to my office and return it. She did not do this expecting a reward, but because she believes that honesty and kindness are what matter most. The auditorium fell silent, with only Mr. Parker's emotional voice filling the room. Many students and teachers began to feel moved by Amara's story of honesty. Some even looked down, feeling remorseful for doubting and misjudging her. Mr. Parker went on, I was deeply touched by Amara's honesty. It is a rare and precious quality in life. This young girl reminded me of the value of integrity, and I want to honor her for her actions. He nodded to Lieutenant Wilson, who stepped forward, holding up the official certificate, and spoke to the auditorium. Amara, on behalf of the City Police Department, I am proud to present you with this certificate for honesty and bravery. You have done something that not everyone is willing to do, to hold on to moral principles in every situation. Applause began to spread from a few people, then filled the entire auditorium. The students, teachers, and even the principal couldn't hide their admiration. Many students in the auditorium looked at Amara with respect and admiration. The unkind rumors about her quickly disappeared, replaced by a sense of respect and appreciation. Mr. Parker looked at Amara with pride and added, I believe we can all learn from Amara. Sometimes, small but genuine actions can have a great impact on life. And today, Amara has shown us that honesty and kindness are priceless values that cannot be bought. Mr. Parker's words left the auditorium in a moment of quiet reflection, followed by a wave of applause. Amara bowed her head to express her gratitude, her heart overflowing with joy and pride. She had not only done the right thing, but had also been recognized and honored in front of her entire school. After the ceremony ended, many students and teachers came to shake her hand and congratulate her. Those who had doubted or spoken ill of her now looked at her differently. A few even apologized for misunderstanding her, and Amara smiled, forgiving them with kindness. Amara walked out of the auditorium, feeling relieved and happy. She could never have imagined that her small act could have such a far-reaching effect. She remembered her mother's words, "It's not about what we have, but who we are." Today, Amara had embodied that lesson for the entire school, and it filled her with a sense of pride in herself. As Amara's story of honesty spread throughout the community and beyond, Mr. Parker realized that her actions were not just a kind gesture, but a powerful reminder of the value of integrity and ethics in society. Deeply moved by Amara's character, he decided to create a lasting legacy to honor her and support other children facing hardships who demonstrated high moral character. Mr. Parker began with the idea of establishing a special scholarship called the Amara Johnson Scholarship. This scholarship would not only be available to Amara, but also to other students who showed similar moral values. His goal was to support students in difficult circumstances who consistently upheld ethical values, providing them with the opportunity to study and develop their potential. With the assistance of a financial advisory team, Mr. Parker established a substantial fund for the scholarship, ensuring it could benefit many generations of students. When preparing to announce the scholarship, Mr. Parker invited Amara and her mother to his office. When they entered, Amara was amazed to see her name written prominently on a large sign, Amara Johnson Scholarship, honoring integrity and ethics. She felt as though she were in a dream, unable to believe that her name would be associated with something so significant. Her mother was equally moved, her eyes brimming with tears as she looked at her daughter with pride. Mr. Parker smiled warmly at Amara and said, "Amara, you have reminded us that honesty and ethics are invaluable in life. This scholarship is not only to honor you, but also to share your spirit with future generations of students. I hope that those who receive this scholarship will understand and appreciate the value of honesty as you have." Amara bowed her head in thanks, too emotional to speak. She felt the importance and meaning of her actions and was filled with pride knowing that this scholarship would help many other children in the similar situations. But Mr. Parker didn't stop there. He wanted to do even more for Amara's community, which he recognized lacked essential resources for children to thrive. He decided to build a community center in Amara's neighborhood, a place where children and teens could study, play, and participate in meaningful activities. He named it the Amara Johnson Community Center, in honor of her and her noble actions. When news of the Community Center project was announced, the neighborhood was thrilled. They believed the center would bring many benefits to the children and the entire community. However, some wealthier residents were concerned and opposed the project, fearing it would disrupt the quiet and value of the neighborhood, affecting their quality of life. Learning of the opposition, Mr. Parker didn't hesitate to organize a meeting with the residents to explain the importance of the center. Amara, hearing the news, also wanted to attend to help him persuade everyone. Although she was nervous about facing older, influential people, she remained determined. She understood that the center would bring many benefits to her community, and she wanted to lend her voice to make that clear. At the meeting, as Mr. Parker began explaining the purpose and significance of the community center, many residents still looked cold and unsupportive. They worried that the center would cause disturbances and change their quiet lives. Seeing this, Amara stood up, her eyes bright with determination, stepped forward, and spoke sincerely. "Ladies and gentlemen, I'm Amara. I understand that you have concerns, but I would like to share why this center is so important to me and many other kids." Amara began, her voice calm yet persuasive. "I grew up in a neighborhood where children don't have many places to study and play. This center will be a safe place where we can come after school, a place where we can learn, grow, and make friends. I believe that this center will bring good things not only to us, but to the entire community." Many residents in the room began to listen, recognizing the sincerity and determination in her words. Some started to change their minds, realizing that Amara, a small girl, wasn't just thinking about herself, but genuinely wanted to contribute to her community. Amara continued, "Mr. Parker has given me the chance to share my story. I hope you will give this center a chance because it's not just a building, it's a place that will help us have a better future." After hearing Amara's words, some residents began to nod in agreement, and a few even applauded her. In the end, thanks to Amara's persistence and heartfelt words, all the residents agreed to support the project, accepting and even committing to help the center once it was built. On the day of the Amara Johnson Community Center opening ceremony, the entire neighborhood gathered excitedly at the entrance, from children to adults, all eagerly waiting. The center was beautifully constructed, complete with study areas, a library, computer rooms, and a safe playground. It would be a place where children could come to study, play, and grow in a safe and healthy environment. The center also offered educational programs and extracurricular activities, helping local children expand their knowledge and develop skills. When Amara was invited to cut the ribbon, she felt an overwhelming sense of pride. She was not only an inspiration, but also a symbol of noble values in her community. The crowd erupted in applause as Amara cut the ribbon, officially opening the center. Mr. Parker stood beside her, his face filled with satisfaction and pride. He leaned down and whispered to Amara, "You have done something wonderful, Amara, not just for yourself, but for this entire community." Throughout the ceremony, many residents came to shake Mr. Parker's hand and thank him, moved by his generosity and Amara's actions. Children ran around, joyfully exploring the new center. Parents chatted with each other, and even some of the wealthy residents who had initially opposed the project admitted that it was a wonderful addition to the neighborhood. The Amara Johnson Community Center quickly became a neighborhood landmark. Children flocked there after school to read, study, and play in a healthy environment. Adults also began participating in activities at the center, contributing to and building a stronger community. In the months that followed, the neighborhood atmosphere noticeably changed. People became more connected, and children had a safe place to learn and grow. Amara had now become a shining example to her peers, teachers, and everyone in the community. She understood that her actions had created a lasting impact, spreading positive values not only for the present, but also for the future. And Amara knew she would always hold on to the values her mother and Mr. Parker had taught her: honesty, responsibility, and compassion. After the Amara Johnson Community Center officially opened, the neighborhood where Amara lived began to transform in ways no one could have anticipated. The center quickly became a familiar place where people of all ages could come to learn, share, and grow. Regular classes in math, literature, and art provided children with opportunities to expand their knowledge. In addition, life skills, training sessions, sports programs, and extracurricular activities brought joy and strengthened bonds among community members. Though the center bore her name, Amara remained as humble as ever. She actively participated in volunteer activities, from tutoring younger kids and organizing reading sessions to helping her friends clean and decorate the center. Amara's sense of responsibility inspired her peers, and gradually her classmates started visiting the center not just for fun but also to contribute. They formed volunteer groups, organized neighborhood cleanups, and even collected used books to donate to families in need. Under Amara's leadership, the community spirit became more vibrant than ever. Even older residents, moved by the enthusiasm of the young people, felt compelled to contribute. Some of the older members of the community, who had typically kept to themselves, began attending events at the center to participate in discussions, offer advice to the youth, and share their valuable experiences. Events like Family Day, Health Day, and book fairs became occasions for the whole neighborhood to gather, fostering a sense of closeness and care. However, becoming the focus of attention also brought challenges for Amara. While she was proud of the recognition she received, she began to feel the pressure of being watched closely by others. Once just a simple girl living an ordinary life, Amara was now seen as a role model in her community, and many expected her to continue doing good, always acting perfectly and never making mistakes. This sudden fame left Amara feeling a bit overwhelmed. One day, while she was organizing a discussion session for younger children at the center, a group of friends from school approached her, hoping she would lead a charity event to raise funds for disadvantaged children in a nearby area. Seeing the anticipation in their eyes, Amara felt both proud and anxious. She didn't want to say no, but she also felt the weight of responsibility, fearing that she might not live up to everyone's expectations. That evening, Amara returned home, tired and full of doubt. She confided her worries to her mother, who held Amara close and gently said, "My dear, I am so proud of what you've done for everyone. But I want you to remember that you don't need to strive to be perfect in everyone's eyes. What matters most is that you remain honest and humble. That's what makes you truly special." Her mother's words helped Amara realize that she didn't need to change herself to meet others' expectations. She just needed to stay true to the values her mother had taught her and not let herself get swept up in fame. Amara understood that her actions came from kindness and sincerity, and she didn't need to act out of admiration. What mattered most to her was continuing to serve the community with all her heart. From then on, Amara learned to keep herself calm in the face of praise or others' high expectations. She continued to contribute quietly at the center, without seeking recognition. When people asked her to lead events, she was happy to help, but was also unafraid to share responsibilities with others. Amara wanted to show her friends that anyone could make a positive impact. One didn't have to be a hero or a perfect example. Gradually, Amara's humility and dedication touched many hearts. Her classmates not only admired her, but also learned from her. They realized that helping the community didn't require being a superhero. It could start with small acts and simple actions in daily life. Amara became a trusted friend, a true source of inspiration, constantly reminding everyone of the value of kindness and sincerity. Amara's story soon spread beyond her neighborhood. News articles and word-of-mouth stories about the honest girl who had transformed an entire community circulated widely. Schools across the city began to hold extracurricular sessions discussing Amara's story and the values of honesty and responsibility. Students from other areas even wrote letters to Amara, sharing that they had been inspired by her story and hoped to meet her to learn from her. Despite the recognition and admiration she received from near and far, Amara remained humble. She continued to serve at the center, consistently doing small things to help the community. For her, joy and happiness didn't come from fame, but from seeing the smiles of the children she helped and the pride of a growing community. Seeing the changes in her neighborhood, Amara felt immense pride and happiness. The mornings spent cleaning the streets, planting trees, and tutoring younger kids all gave her a sense that she was doing something meaningful. Whether people noticed or not, Amara knew she was on the right path, one her mother had taught her since she was a child, to live honestly and humbly and contribute to the good of others. Under the loving and admiring eyes of those around her, Amara continued forward, bringing hope and inspiration to her community. She knew that challenges lay ahead, but with her courageous heart and genuine spirit, Amara was ready to face them and continue spreading the values she believed in. After the community center started operating, the bond between Amara and Mr. Parker grew increasingly close and strong. Mr. Parker was no longer just a benefactor. He gradually became a spiritual father figure for Amara. With patience and skill, he guided her, helping her recognize her potential and encouraging her to bring out the best in herself. Under Mr. Parker's guidance, Amara kept learning and growing, not only in knowledge but also in moral character and leadership skills. While working together, Mr. Parker often shared stories of his difficult childhood with Amara. He told her about growing up in a poor family and having to do many jobs to help support his family. At times, he faced great financial temptations, but his honesty and sense of responsibility kept him grounded. He explained that success is not only about personal effort, but also about the ethical values he holds in his heart. Each story he shared contained precious lessons, helping Amara realize that success is not just about achieving big goals, but also about staying true to oneself in all circumstances. Amara, Mr. Parker once said in the evening as they sat together after a long day at the center, "Life will bring many challenges and temptations, but always remember we are defined by the choices we make when no one is watching. Integrity and honesty will shape who you are, not wealth or fame." His advice not only gave Amara deeper insight into his character, but also reinforced her belief in the values her mother had taught her from a young age. Mr. Parker often joined Amara in organizing events for the center, such as Family Day, Sports Day, and other charity activities. Through their work together, Amara gradually learned how to coordinate, organize, and handle issues that arose calmly. Mr. Parker always encouraged her to take on new challenges, expanding her skills. One of the major events they organized together was the Community New Year Festival, where families from the neighborhood came to participate in activities, socialize, and enjoy food. Amara was not only in charge of coordinating the booths, but also gave the opening speech for the festival, an experience she had never imagined she could accomplish. The festival took place in a joyful and warm atmosphere, and Amara felt proud seeing everyone gathered happily. However, the preparation process didn't always go smoothly. At one point, Amara struggled with assigning tasks to the volunteers. She felt overwhelmed, unsure of how to ensure everyone would cooperate without causing conflict. Seeing her concern, Mr. Parker gently placed a hand on her shoulder and said, "You don't have to do everything alone. Learn to trust and delegate to others. Being a leader means knowing when to step back and allow others to shine." His words helped Amara regain her confidence, and she began sharing responsibilities with her fellow volunteers. She gradually realized that she didn't need to try to do everything herself. Delegating and trusting others was also an important part of leadership. With Mr. Parker's guidance, Amara not only grew more confident, but also learned to foster unity and camaraderie within the group. She understood that a true leader is not just someone who gives orders, but someone who listens, supports, and encourages the team to grow. Each time she worked with Mr. Parker, Amara continued to learn from his calm and compassionate leadership style. He always prioritized ethical values, never compromising his principles for personal gain. These values gradually influenced Amara, helping her build a solid foundation of honesty and responsibility. Although still young, she started to grasp the importance of upholding these values in life. On another occasion, when the center hosted a workshop on education for neighborhood children, Amara faced difficulty presenting in front of a large audience. She felt nervous and anxious, afraid she might make mistakes or fail to convey her ideas. Noticing her unease, Mr. Parker came over, held her hand, and gently said, "Amara, remember that what you're doing is for others, not to prove yourself. Don't worry about getting everything right. Just speak from your heart, and people will listen." His encouragement helped Amara feel calm and confident. She took a deep breath, stepped onto the stage, and shared her thoughts naturally and sincerely. With each challenge, the bond between Amara and Mr. Parker grew stronger. Amara saw him not only as a benefactor, but also as a spiritual father. Mr. Parker not only helped her understand ethical values, but also gave her the confidence that she could accomplish great things. She realized that, although he was a successful businessman, he devoted time and effort to the community not out of obligation, but out of love and faith in the value of every individual. After each event, Mr. Parker would often sit down with Amara in the center's office, reflecting on their work and discussing improvements for next time. He shared with her the difficulties he had encountered and the times he struggled to maintain honesty in the business world filled with temptations. Amara listened with admiration, understanding that not everyone could steadfastly uphold their ethics like him. She knew she was lucky to have him as a mentor, guiding her to see that a person's true worth lies in their actions and decisions during challenging times. In those moments, Amara felt deeply that Mr. Parker was not just a mentor, but a spiritual father, someone always there to support her and instill in her the most valuable lessons. Their relationship was not just about financial support or community projects, but a bond of shared values and life goals. Together, they continued to contribute to the community, bringing about positive change. Under Mr. Parker's guidance, Amara became stronger and more confident, ready to face challenges and committed to the values she believed in. Mr. Parker also found new inspiration in Amara, a reminder of the core values he had upheld throughout his life. Through years of working together, they built a relationship as close as father and daughter. Mr. Parker saw not only Amara's potential, but also recognized that she had helped him reaffirm the meaning and purpose of his life. In Amara's heart, he was always a spiritual father, a companion, and the person who helped her grow, find purpose, and discover meaning in life. After many years of dedication to the community, Amara grew up and found clarity in the path she wanted to pursue. With Mr. Parker's guidance and her mother's unwavering support, Amara decided to study social work. She realized that her love for the community and desire to help others had become an inseparable part of her heart. Amara had long dreamed of establishing her community center, envisioning it as not only a gathering place, but a continuation of Mr. Parker's legacy, the person who inspired her to value kindness and the power of connection. She understood that it was now her responsibility to build and develop this community. She recalled her volunteer days at Mr. Parker's Center, where she dedicated herself to each child, supported families in need, and created a welcoming place where everyone felt comforted. Mr. Parker's Center had been a lifeline for many in difficult situations, a place where connection and sharing formed invisible bonds that brought people together. It was a place that transformed her life and helped her realize her calling. Determined to make her vision a reality, Amara began working on creating the Amara Johnson Community Center too. She wanted it to build on the legacy of the original center, while expanding its reach with more programs for young people. Free skills classes, psychological counseling sessions, and a space for everyone to share, learn, and build friendships. She sought funding from community foundations and gathered support from friends and family who all understood the importance of this project. After months of preparation and overcoming numerous challenges, Amara finally brought her dream to life. On the day she made this decision, Mr. Parker sat beside her, his eyes full of pride and joy. "Amara," he said in his warm voice, "I always knew you would follow this path. You have the heart and qualities of a community leader. Wherever you go, remember that you have the power to change the world around you, one step at a time." She smiled, her heart filled with confidence and hope. She knew this was just the beginning, and the journey ahead would bring many challenges. But with the lessons learned from Mr. Parker and her mother's love, Amara believed she could bring about positive change. The inauguration ceremony for the Amara Johnson Community Center II was held in a respectful and warm atmosphere. The entire neighborhood, from Amara's classmates to elderly residents, gathered to witness this special moment. The center was beautifully decorated, with many images showcasing the meaningful activities Amara and Mr. Parker had organized over the years. Standing before the crowd, Amara felt her heart race, yet a sense of pride and determination welled up within her. Amara stepped up to the podium, her eyes scanning the crowd. She saw her mother smiling brightly in the front row and Mr. Parker watching her with pride. Feeling their strength and support, she took a deep breath and began her speech, her voice clear and sincere, resonating throughout the center. Dear everyone, today, standing here, I feel very grateful for the opportunity to share with you something that has always been close to my heart, she began. Years ago, I thought returning a wallet was just a small act. But today, I realize that small action, when done from the heart, can create significant change, not only for oneself but for many others. Amara paused, looking into the attentive eyes before her. She continued, I want to encourage everyone to start with small things. Open your hearts to help others and take time to listen and share. Sometimes we don't realize that even our simplest actions can create a powerful ripple effect. A word of encouragement, a helping hand, or just listening to someone. All of these can make a difference. Her voice grew passionate as she emphasized, this community center is not just a place for learning and play. It's a symbol of the power of kindness and compassion. I hope everyone, from the young to the elderly, will continue to contribute to building our community into a better place. Let kindness and honesty be the guiding lights for us all. And remember, if each person does something good, however small, the entire community will become a better place. Applause thundered throughout the center, filling Amara's heart with joy and hope. She looked down to see her mother wiping away tears, while Mr. Parker smiled proudly. Everyone around her applauded enthusiastically, and many nodded in agreement with her words. Amara felt that her message had touched people's hearts, and that the values she cherished would continue to spread in the community. After the ceremony, many people approached to express their admiration and gratitude to Amara. She shook hands with everyone, receiving congratulations and encouragement from the neighborhood residents. An elderly woman held her hand, her eyes shining, and said, You've done wonderfully, Amara. This community is fortunate to have you. A young boy looked up at her in admiration and said, Amara, when I grow up, I want to be like you. Amara smiled, knelt, and hugged the boy, feeling deep happiness, knowing she had inspired the next generation. As night fell, Amara and Mr. Parker walked around the neighborhood discussing plans. Mr. Parker placed his hand on her shoulder, his gaze warm. Amara, you've done amazing things. I believe that on the path you've chosen, you'll achieve even more. She nodded, her heart filled with determination. She knew the road ahead would not be easy, but with Mr. Parker's support and her mother's encouragement, she was ready to face any challenges to bring positive change to her community. When the ceremony ended and Amara walked home, she felt as if a gentle stream was flowing through her soul, bringing peace and warmth. This moment was special, not just for the recognition she had received, but for the deep understanding she had gained from a simple act. Looking back on her journey, Amara realized that returning the wallet that day, seemingly a small action, was the starting point for many remarkable changes, not only in Mr. Parker's life, but in her own heart and mind. Amara remembered the moment she picked up the wallet and wrestled with thoughts of what to do. She understood that honesty is not always easy, but by choosing kindness, she had built something within herself that she was proud of. From that event, she learned that no good deed is too small to make a real difference. The power of kindness, no matter how simple, can spread far beyond anything she could have imagined. To Amara, her story is not just about honesty, but a testament to the power of dedication and a community spirit. Those around her, from family to friends, were impacted by her story, viewing her as a role model and a reminder that everyone can contribute to the good. Her humility and compassion sparked in others a desire to do good. With a heart full of hope and compassion, Amara promised herself that she would continue this journey, carrying warmth and light to share with those around her. And in the hearts of those who knew her story, Amara became a living symbol of kindness and faith in the good, reminding everyone that, in this life, even small actions can create profound change. Amara's story is a powerful example of how kindness can come from anyone, regardless of age or circumstance. She simply chose to do the right thing. But that small act gave all of us a big lesson about compassion and the power of honesty. What do you think of Amara's actions and the responses of the adults in this story? Share your thoughts below. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel to help spread inspiring stories like this to more people. See you next time.